I can't hear you for some reason. I'm not sure if that's
Oh,
an issue on my end. Oh, never mind. I can hear
yeah,
you
I
now.
was just
Oh,
doing the
sorry.
getting everything set up. Okay. Good evening with the Para Japanese Club. Before we get started, I do want to let you know that we're working with a budget of $60,000 for this cycle, which means we'll have to fund organizations at a rate of about 87%. So keep that in mind as we go forward tonight, but I'll give you the next few minutes to introduce your
Wait,
and what
so
you're.
the president is also here for the Parapet Club. Is there any chance for her to actually
Uh,
also join as well?
is that Nozomi?
Yeah.
Okay,
All right. Thank you.
there we go. All right. So as I was saying, we're working with a budget of about $60,000, which means we'll be funding organizations at a rate of about 87%. So keep that in mind. But I will give you the next few minutes to introduce your organization and what you need funds for.
All right. So I'll start the conversation. Hi, I'm Richard. I'm the treasurer for Parapet Japanese Chat Club. So basically, Parapet, there are two Japanese related clubs on campus. There are only two, according to the roster. One is the Japan Club, and one is us. So the difference is that we emphasize slightly more on the conversational part for each member to practice. We want to create an environment in which every member could freely express themselves in Japanese, or they can practice Japanese with like actual native speakers. But we also believe that sorry for the outside noise. Okay. But we also do believe that if you want to learn a language, the ultimate goal is to immerse yourself with that culture. So what we do is we also provide a lot of cultural events so people can speak Japanese while enjoying those events. And how we're gonna use the funds are what I wrote on the program. There are three that will be used. The first program already happened. It was in September 21st, which was our first club meeting. Um, it was the icebreaker, so we decided to do Japanese shaved ice together. Um, Shaved ice is a traditional Japanese snack which got really popular around the world, and we had each member to do that to create their own shaved ice. So instead of considering those funds for food for consumption, it's more like food for learning the experience, and it's like the consumption is just the byproduct. It's not the main point of it. So I think considering as supplies would be more appropriate in my opinion. And the second one was takoyaki. It happened on October 6th. Yes, it's our second meeting. Takoyaki is also a traditional Japanese snack. It's creative octopus. Um, because it's so famous in Japan, we decided if you want to know Japanese culture, we might as well start with food. And we also did a lot of geography events during that period of time. So that's pretty much what we did. And I listed all the cost um, for the machines and the food and the raw materials. So we created the raw materials. We bought the raw materials and we had each member to create their own takoyaki. That's how we allocated the fund.
Thank
And
you for
for the
that,
last
Richard. Oh,
and
ca-
and the
I think, are we running out of time? I don't know.
Uh,
all right.
you have a few.
Okay,
Okay.
thank you.
What were you gonna say, Richard?
Oh yeah, and we have the last program that I listed on it is the traditional games in Japanese because we had several things on the food. So we decided to shift the next focus on the games. So we would buy 4 sets of traditional Japanese games so everyone could practice Japanese while playing those games. We would divide the members into different teams so we could compete together and do it the Japanese way.
Yep, that's pretty much it. So, in terms of other events that we haven't gotten the chance to do yet, first is the karaoke night. So this is a very stress relieving event where everyone is able to showcase their Japanese linguistic abilities by challenging themselves to singing Japanese songs. And this is an event that was held every year, but hasn't happened in the recent years. Even though there is a huge demand for it. So we're hoping to make this happen again. And the main purpose is to break the awkward barrier so people will become more comfortable with expressing themselves in Japanese. And yeah, but so a lot of Asian clubs do this. And the karaoke place is located in Durham. So that's why we have like transportation that we have to sort out, and then sort of like funds for the actual event. And then the second one, the main event that we are trying to aim for is the Undokai, or the Sports Day Festival. So we want to recreate the most popular and famous traditional school event in Japan with other Asian clubs. So this is something that our club has done since the beginning. Since it was first created like at least a decade ago, and it's not only an exceptional team building cultural immersion event, but it's also a wonderful opportunity to create more bonding and collaborative harmony with other Asian organizations, despite everyone's different backgrounds. So and then ultimately, so this club is not only vital to sustaining a very significant form of representation for the very limited amount of Japanese students on UNC campus who otherwise don't have any sort of community or group they belong to as a Japanese student, other than like ASA, which is for like general, like, just Asian people in general. But it also provides a warm, inviting space to blossom, for people to blossom as highly interested individuals that are very much engaged in learning about Japanese culture or the language. And we believe that these allocated funds will allow us to fulfill our goal to make the most comfortable environment, as well as assist us in helping us gain tools and materials to make highly requested cultural immersion events happen for everyone in our club. Yeah, that's pretty much it. Thank you so much.
All right. Well, most things seem to check out. I will just say though, the ice, the syrup, and then the food ingredients for the other event, we will have to, those do qualify as food for consumption, which we don't fund outside of the food insecurity cycle. And doing the math, that added up to 134. So out of the 350, we couldn't fund that part. But
well, we didn't. So the thing is, we didn't like put in the the stuff that we are gonna be needing in the future, like the two events that I just mentioned. So that's like the other portion of the 350. So yeah, excluding the things that you just mentioned, I think the rest of the funds will go to those two events because they're pretty massive.
all right. Okay, then. Then in that case, I'm going to move that we fund the category of supplies at $300.
Second.
All right. So with that, UNC Chapel Hill Para Japanese Chat Club has been appropriated $300 from the Undergraduate Senate. Your appropriation will be finalized next Tuesday when the Undergraduate Senate next meets in full, at which point you'll be able to apply for reimbursement or acquire those funds through the union's business office. But with that, that's all that we have for you tonight. So thank you very much for coming.
Thank you so much for your
Thank you so
time.
much.
We really appreciate it.
All right. Now, I will be right back. Gotta go help out Josh with co-host permission. Sorry about that, Josh. There you go.
Great, thank you.
Good evening, Dwayne. All right. Before we get started, I do want to let you know that we're working with a budget of $60,000, which means we'll have to fund organizations at a rate of about 86 to 90%. So keep this in mind as we go forward, but I'll give you the next few minutes to introduce your organization and describe what you need funds for.
Okay, sure thing. First, just want to say thank you guys for the opportunity, of course. I'm here representing We Wear the Mask. We Wear the Mask, sorry, is a multicultural mental health organization aiming to provide support, resources, and a safe space for minority students at UNC. As many know, minority communities often face a lot of mental health stigma. Just, general discourage towards it. And so we hope to demystify some of those perceptions and stigmas. And our goal as an organization is to uplift the community here at UNC, provide a safe space for students to unwind and grow together, and just encourage people, to think twice about the way they're treating themselves. So our aim is to educate and provide mental health resources. We have done a lot of work sort of planning out what we want to do this year. Our organization kind of faltered in years past, so we're aiming to be a lot more active this year. Most of our budget would go towards promotional for events. We're looking to create some merchandise soon, so shirts, and then we're aiming to have a speaker as well. Part of that promotional budget would go towards supplies for poster boards, things of that nature. We did an event recently. We were out at Small Fest in the pit, and that was one of our things so far, like having to split up between the executive board for poster boards, materials, et cetera, et cetera. But yeah, like I said, we're planning to do monthly events for the rest of the year. And to encourage more people to come out, we're looking to, cater those events. Like I mentioned earlier, have a speaker. And yeah, sorry. A little nervous, but
Oh, good.
yeah, we're hoping to get a more successful speaker, someone to draw people in. We're doing a lot of promo right now, just trying to increase membership. And so most of our fund, I assume, will be going towards the speaker, based on what we get. But we're looking for around $350 for shirts and promotionals, $300 for a speaker, $250 towards supplies, and $300 to cater. Just to, give you guys an idea of what exact numbers we're looking at, and around 1,200 total based on our membership so far and the events we're aiming to do. For example, towards the end of the year, we're looking to do a wind down / study session during finals week, offering a space for students to relax and take a break during final season, provide snacks, refreshments, music. And so far we're expecting between 20 and 30 people. So we'll have to rent a space big enough to host. And I keep mentioning that speaker just because that's a big thing we're looking at doing. So we're thinking of hosting a panel of professors during the month of November. And we're going to ask alumni in the mental health field to come speak, answer questions, sorry. And we're looking to have 50 to 100 people attend, cater, and pay the guest speakers, as well as promotion, just to give you guys an idea of what kind of things we're looking at doing. But yeah, if you have any questions, I'd love to answer.
All right. Most stuff checks out. I do just have a few. In the miscellaneous section of the application, it says your group is unwilling to identify the student government as its sponsor. Is this accurate?
I believe so, yes.
Okay, so as a requirement, we do.
Oh, wait, sorry, I misheard you. Unwilling to acknowledge that you guys are the sponsor?
Cool. Yeah.
No, that's wrong.
Yeah, just making sure.
Yeah, that's not correct.
And then also, it says the group intends to purchase alcohol, tobacco, and/or firearms with the requested funds. Is this accurate?
No, that isn't accurate. I'll have to let our president know about that.
All good. People make these typos, so as long as we get the verbal confirmation, we're good. There's also you've requested funds for catering. Which category did you put that in?
Like on the
application.
I will have to relay a message real quick. Give me 1 second. But I'll get back to you with that very shortly here. Service.
Service?
Is that
doesn't so you have building, venue rental, clothing, dues and fees, printing and publicity, programming, speaker fees, and supplies.
Mm-hmm.
Those are the categories you've requested in. I'm just saying that because we don't fund food outside of the food insecurity cycle.
Okay.
So that we will need to cut that.
Okay.
But that should be the only part. So if you could say which category that fell under.
Could you repeat them real quick? Sorry.
Building, venue, rental, clothing, dues and fees, printing and publicity, programming, speaker fees, and supplies.
Realistically, it would fall under speaker fees. I know that's gonna be the event where we're most looking at encouraging people to come through, of course. Not only the speakers, but it would be a panel where people would be asking questions and, kind of hanging out for an extended period of time.
Yeah. Okay. Then, in that case, going to move that we fund the category of building venue rental at $150.
Second,
The category of clothing at $300.
second,
Category of dues and fees at $300.
second,
The category of printing and publicity at $110.
second,
The category of programming at $0.
second,
The category of speaker fees at $300.
second,
The category of supplies at $100.
second.
All right. So with that, We Wear the Mask has been appropriated $1,260 from the undergraduate senate in the subsequent cycle. Your appropriation will be finalized next Tuesday when the full senate next meets to approve your appropriation, after which point you'll be able to apply for reimbursement and access those funds. But that's all we have for you tonight. So thank you for coming.
Thank you for having me. I appreciate it.
Good evening. With the bandana. Question: have you passed the treasurer's test?
Yes, I have taken it, and then ACOM is also in this meeting as well, and I believe I was under the impression he was going to be joining me, but if
Yeah.
not, that's okay too. But yes, I have.
I looking at the results on the full spreadsheet, I see one result from you, and it is not a passing score.
I took it and got like a thing that said that I passed, so it should be
With an 80 or above?
yes.
The sheet says that you received a 68, which is not passing.
When was that? I took it
This was the 1st of October.
of this year.
Yes.
Okay, I believe I took it like more recently than that. I don't know if there was like something that I don't know.
Not seeing any.
Okay.
The treasurer's test is a requirement to receive funds, so as it seems there's not a passing score, we will not be able to appropriate funds.
Is that something if it's not a passing score right now, if it's done like today? Is that
Let's see, we finish our last hearing at 9:40. If you can get a passing score by before we adjourn, and we have time, we might be able to fit you in, but we will need that. And tonight is the last night for hearings, so
okay? And is it both of us or one of us that needs to be
just
done?
one of you.
Okay, because I've taken it in a previous school year, so I wasn't sure if
Yeah.
that
Yeah,
carried.
it needs to be retaken every year, with updates to the financial side of the code.
Okay. Yeah, so should we just rejoin the Zoom when it's like in the waiting room once it's completed?
Yeah, you can, that works.
Okay, perfect. Thanks a lot.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you.
Goal tonight is to spend all of the money. All right, seeing as how 7 minutes have passed since the walk-on's assigned hearing time and the fact that they have not passed the treasurer's test, going to move that we fund, oh, only one category, the category of labor fees at $0.
Second. You're not making it easy for you to give this money away.
I wish. I can only be as nice as the organizations are willing to do the work. Good evening, Kevin,
Hello.
with 0 degrees at UNC, correct?
Yep.
All right. So before we get started, I do just want to say we're working with a budget of $60,000, which means we'll have to fund organizations at a rate of about 87%. So keep that in mind as we go forward, but I'll give you the next few minutes to introduce your organization and what you need funds for.
All right. Our organizations is 0 degrees at Chapel Hill, and we would like funds for running like events for our club. So our club is mainly for undergraduate students to connect with other students on campus, and we like to do things such as like dodgeball, cornhole, frisbee, and like outdoor activities for students to be able to get outside. And we also like to host events like weekly dinners, board game nights, and like movie nights, which are potential opportunities for students to like relax. And we're primarily like a social club, but we also emphasize a lot of diversity. So we go on trips with the other students to be able to go out of town and really like bond and connect. Because we find that a lot of the times that students on campus aren't afforded the opportunity outside of class to connect with other students. And we want to be like the first club for like freshmen and sophomore who might be like their first time on campus to be able to hang out with other students and get to know them better.
All right. Well, okay, in the miscellaneous section, it does say the group is unwilling to identify the student government as its sponsor. Is this an accurate statement?
Yes. We usually just find that most of these things are like just equipment and we're not like advertising anything really.
Okay, so we do have a requirement that any event held by an organization funded in part or whole by undergraduate Senate funds does need to say that it is sponsored by student government.
Mhm.
So you will need to recognize student government as a sponsor. Can you commit to that?
Yeah. Yes, we could commit to
Okay.
that.
Cool. As long as we can get that verbally, that is all good. Then everything else, yeah, everything else checks out. Okay, so I am going to move that we fund the category of equipment rental at $1,350.
Second.
All right. So with that, 0 degrees at UNC has been appropriated $1,350 from the undergraduate Senate in this cycle. Your appropriation will be finalized next Tuesday when the undergraduate Senate meets in full next, so we can pass your budget bill. But that's all that we have for you tonight. So thank you for coming.
All right. Thank you very much. Have a good day.
You too.
Mhm.
Good evening. You're with Company Carolina?
Yes,
All right. Have you passed the treasurer's test?
I have.
Uh, are you sure? Because
Is it listed Nellie Wade? Because the other person that had made the meeting, she had done the test but hadn't gotten results back yet.
so for Company Carolina, the only result we have is for Colleen, which received a 74, which is not a passing score.
Oh, really?
Yes.
Oh, okay. Shoot. I guess, do you retake it every semester?
Every year we have a new
Every year.
test updated with changes to financial laws.
Okay. So what does this mean? Is there any way that I can?
Yes, so another organization also faced this issue, and I offered if you can retake the test and pass it before we adjourn for the night and we have time, I will try to squeeze you in.
All right, sounds good.
Mhm.
Thank you.
All right. Wow, that's not good. I'm looking at the sheet, and nobody in subcommittee 2 has passed the treasurer's test.
Oh my, nobody in subcommittee 2 at all?
1, 2, 3, 4, at least not the first 5.
Oh God. That's troubling.
This is making my goal very difficult.
Hmm. Yeah, that's tough.
Andrew, did you say nobody has passed the treasurer's test in subcommittee 2?
Okay, at the first 5. The ones coming up though, I'm looking and they have, but 5 in a row is not great.
That's a record, I will say. I don't think I've seen that one.
Never seen that before.
Exciting stuff. I hope they get to do something tonight.
Good evening, Susan, with the Undergraduate International Business Club.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Awesome. Okay, so before we get started, I do want to say that we're working with a budget of $60,000 for this cycle, which means we'll have to fund organizations at a rate of about 87%. So keep that in mind as we go forward, but I'll give you the next few minutes to introduce your organization and what you need funds for.
Of course, thank you. So, hi, my name is Susan. I'm a treasurer for the UNC's International Business Club, or more widely known as the UIBC. And UIBC is a student-run organization, open to all, and we are dedicated to bringing together everyone, especially international students interested in pursuing business. We provide resources such as resume workshops, mentorship, and etc., while also hosting professional events such as the Professor Fireside Chat and then the Global Peer Program, more widely known as the GPP. We hope that through our events and our resources, we can foster a more collaborative and supportive environment within our members and society. And currently, as right now, our USP does take a one-time due of $5. However, we are exclusive as we offer events and resources even to members who don't pay those dues. The main series of events that we host every semester is the series of the Global Peer Program, or GPP. UIBC's GPP is a series of events that aims to provide resources and support for students from all around, such as international students or students with other majors / interests. GPP consists of various perspectives from business professionals to students. We hope that these various points of view from the business world can help students develop themselves as individuals and leaders in their own path. This year, as one of our events for GPP series, we plan to host a cultural fest. This is a place for IBC and other clubs to collaborate on campus. Students show the world culture and learning through global perspectives start with the understanding of cultures, obviously. So we want to host this event in a great hall of reunion. We would have different stations set up for each organization, and we also want to set up a photo view section as memories for our participant. The approximate date of this event would be around in October-ish. We strive to make this event admission free, as we want everyone to learn and don't want financial hindrances for anyone. And for the event, we are requesting a budget of $1,250 to help cover the expenses listed in our budget request. And this funds would help covers for the expenses of renting a great hall to the supplies needed for the activities and decorations. Thank you for your time. We really appreciate it.
Well, everything seems to check out. The only thing we'll have to do now is find a place to cut this down. So what do you want us to prioritize in your appropriation?
I think the main priority is just having enough money to rent the Great Hall. I think we can find other places to cut down on supplies even, but I think the Great Hall price is just the Great Hall price. So I think that's something we want to prioritize.
All right, then in that case, I'm going to move that we fund the category of building venue rental at $500.
Second.
The category of equipment rental at $500.
Second.
And the category of supplies at $150.
Second.
All right, so with that, the Undergraduate International Business Club has been appropriated $1,150 from the Undergraduate Senate in this cycle. In terms of next steps, your organization's budget will be finalized next Tuesday when the full Senate meets to pass your organization's budget bill. But with that, that's all that we have for you tonight. So thank you very much for coming.
Of course, thank you guys so much. You have a great fall break.
You too. Ooh, the walk-on's treasure is here. Okay. Good evening, Russell. Have
Good
you
evening.
passed the treasurer's test?
So I submitted it last week, and I was never given any certification. I was gonna reach out to Logan about it, but I wasn't sure quite what happened with that.
So with that, he's noticed a lot of confusing technical issues with treasurers not receiving their tests. So he did create a registry of certified treasurers, which can be found on the Senate's website and is updated just about every day.
Gotcha.
I can say that, let's see, your most recent test result on the second received a 70, which is
Okay.
not a passing score.
Okay. Well, yeah, sorry about that.
I will say though, something I've been offering to other organizations. We will be finishing our hearings at about 9:40. So if you can manage to pass the treasurer's test by then, we might be able to squeeze you in.
Yeah, that would be awesome. And I'm sorry I didn't make my time earlier. I was in a rehearsal and I looked at my phone and panic overtook me.
All
Yeah,
right.
I'll try and get that done before 9:40.
All right.
All right, awesome. Thank you so much.
Mm-hmm. Good evening with the cliffhangers, correct?
Yes, that's correct.
All right. Before we get started, I do want to say that we're working with a budget of $60,000, which means we'll have to fund organizations at a rate of about 87%. So keep that in mind as we go forward. But I'll give you the next few minutes to introduce your organization and what you need funds for.
Yeah, so we are the UNC Cliffhangers. We're the oldest a cappella group on campus. We've been here since 1977. We get the opportunity to perform at graduation every year alongside other performances in and around campus in the state of North Carolina throughout the year. We have two large performances, one in the fall and one in the spring, and these are quite expensive performances to put on. So initially, we have a contract with a local sound and production team, which is around, we pay, I believe, $5,800 every semester to them. So that is where the large, that's pretty much all of the funding I'm asking for is to help cover this, as this is a multi-year contract we're in with them. And then on top of this, we also have to pay for the venues, lighting, such like that to be able to put on these performances. Yeah, so we have a concert this fall, which we have already planned a majority of. It's costing quite a bit, and before we get any revenue from ticket sales or anything like that, it would just be very helpful if we could get any type of funding to be able to cover those costs.
All right. Well, everything seems to check out. Nothing illegal, large impact. So with that, I'm going to move that we fund the category of equipment rental at $1,400.
Second.
All right. So with that, the UNC Cliffhangers have been appropriated $1,400 from the undergraduate senate in this cycle. Your appropriation will be finalized next Tuesday when the full senate next meets, and we can hear that budget, your organization's budget bill. But with that, that's all we have for you tonight. So thank you for coming.
Thank you very much. Really appreciate it.
Of course.
All right, thank you. Bye-bye.
Hi there.
Hello, with the Undergraduate Consulting Club.
Yes.
All right. Before we get started, I do want to let you know that we're working with a budget of $60,000, which means we'll have to fund organizations at a rate of about 90%. So keep that in mind.
Okay.
A little bit will need to be cut, but I'll give you the next few minutes to introduce your organization and what you need funds for.
Yeah, so we're the Undergraduate Consulting Club. So as a firm, as a club, we try to help students not only figure out kind of what consulting is, but then those who are further in the consulting process, connect them with firms and people to begin networking. So we really try to create opportunities for those who are just beginning their consulting career and those who are far in there. We do that by hosting two of our biggest events, which is Firm Trek, which is where we try to take 35 students roughly to different firms in both Charlotte and Atlanta. But the firm that we are asking, the event that we're asking for money for is our boot camp event, which is an on-campus event where we typically have over 200 participants of students and then roughly 10 different firms, which is probably about 30 employees total, come to the school, and they not only have different networking events for people to get to know them, talk about their different job opportunities, but they also have different sessions where they discuss what consulting is, different tips. So we are asking for 1,500. I know you guys are limited on how much you're giving out, but that's what we originally were asking for to help with the rentals for rooms. We're trying to limit the cost as much that people would have to pay to make this accessible, because I know that fees are a really big issue for a lot of students, and we don't want anyone to feel excluded. So do you have any questions about it? If I can go into more detail if you need.
Everything looks good. No issues I see with anything on the application, and you only requested funds in one category. So
Yeah, it said that we were requesting a maximum of 1,500, right? That's what okay.
That's all good.
Yeah, we wanted to just put it in one area.
All right, then in that case, I'm going to move that we appropriate in the category of building venue rental $1,425. All right, so with
Thank you
that,
so much.
very briefly, the Undergraduate Consulting Club has been appropriated $1,425 from the Undergraduate Senate. Your budget will be finalized next Tuesday when the Fall Senate next meets, and we can pass these appropriations officially, after which you'll be able to access these funds. But that's all we have for you tonight, so thank you very much for coming.
Thank you guys so much. Have a great night.
Hello, how are you all?
Good evening. Before we get started, I do want to say that we're working with a budget of $60,000, which means we'll have to be funding organizations at a rate of about 90%. So keep that in mind as we go forward. But I'll give you the next few minutes to introduce your organization and talk about what you need funds for.
Sure thing. So my name is Lauren Ryle. I'm the treasurer of the NCHCAP Health Careers Club. It's a student-led organization trying to bring together, educate, and support students with all different health careers. This is mainly catered toward freshmen and sophomore students, but also juniors and seniors who do not know which specific health career they want to pursue. We provide lots of different opportunities to be involved with campus life and community service projects to get that experience. And so they can be introduced to these different health careers. We also have different speakers come in and educate our members on these different health careers, talk a little bit more about their field. And that's those who are currently working and students. Our main event is Health on the Block, which I'll start with for funding. This is a large event we hold at the Hargraves Community Center, and it's for the Chapel Hill, Carborough, and other surrounding communities. And we fund health professionals to come out, and we also have volunteer-based health professionals come out and provide their service to underserved communities in that area. So this can be from mammograms, eye care, dental care, all of that. So for that, requesting $1,000, which would include the rental of buses to transport these healthcare professionals, equipment, and themselves to Health on the Block, and funding the services of those healthcare workers that cannot do a volunteer based. Moving on to our next event, Heart Healthy Heals Day. We had good success with this last year. It's a sport tournament type fundraising event specifically for our Health on the Block event. And our members pay a designated fee to get in, and that money goes toward half to our Health on the Block and the other half to some sort of cardiac oh gosh, I'm losing the word, donation site, and we switch it every year. So we're requesting $1,000 for programming. This would be for winning prizes as an incentive for those participants. And then our last event is our suturing workshop. This is one of the biggest events we have with our members. We purchase and rent out suture kits, and we also get healthcare personnel to come in and to demonstrate how to perform sutures and to teach our club members just the inner workings of that. I apologize for the background noise. But yes, for that, it would be $200 for the purchase of the suture kits and $200 for programming for the healthcare personnel to come in.
All right. Well, all of this seems to check out. Okay, so since we will have to cut this down a little bit, where do you want us to prioritize our appropriations?
I would say definitely for Health on the Block, since that is one of our biggest events. And then I would say that suturing workshop would be my second choice, just because we do have a lot of club members that attend that as well.
All right. Then in that case, I'm going to move that we fund the category of equipment rental at $200.
Second.
And the category of programming at $1,225.
Second.
All right, so with that, NCHCAP Health Careers Club has been appropriated $1,425 from the Undergraduate Senate in this cycle. Your budget will be finalized next Tuesday when the full Senate next meets to pass yours and all other budget requests. But after that point, you'll be able to access those funds and apply for reimbursement. But that's all that we have for you tonight. So thank you very much for coming.
Great. Thank you so much. Again, apologies for that background noise. I hope you have a great rest of your night.
You too. Good evening, Joanne. You're with the Black Pre-Law Association, correct?
Yes.
Awesome. Okay. So before we get started, I do just want to say we're working with a budget of $60,000, which means we'll be funding organizations at a rate of about 90%. So keep that in mind, but I'll give you the next few minutes to introduce your organization and what you need funds for.
Yeah, thank you so much for your time and thank you guys for joining me tonight. The Black Pre-Law Association was an organization that was just established this semester. We just became an organization in September of this year. So we've already amounted to about 120 members specifically. So we plan to expand from that as well. And this organization is just catered towards supporting Black legal professionals coming in the legal field, especially in a population that has lacking resources of that. So most of our events are targeted towards expanding these resources for these students specifically in this organization. And I can expand a little bit on what events that we're trying to put on. The first event is the LSAT prep, and the LSAT is a law school admissions test that all students must take. A lot of the students in our organization have said that they don't have the resources to get coaching and also get the books that they need. So the first thing that we want to do is a prep course. We've been looking at different coaching staff, and it's about 250 per hour. The estimated time that we're looking to have is a 2-hour event. And with that, we also need books and flashcards, different resources for students. When I looked into the books cost, we want about 5 books that we want to keep within our organization to consistently host these events. And it was $42.78 per book, around that price. And then we wanted 3 flashcard sets, which were about $34.99 per set. And then we also just wanted miscellaneous supplies to have in our possession as we consistently host these type of events and making it annually. So approximately already there, that's about $800. And then going into the Black Pre-Law Association Resource Fair and Internship Fair, a lot of internships are opening up, and we want this to be a big event where students can be able to get those resources and also know what's out there for them as well. We project having about 5 to 7 speakers, but the range of speakers, there is a pricing with it as well, and it can cost about 150 to 200. We also want to have a photographer, and we got a quote of 175. And then from there, we want to offer students headshots and resource packets. And we're projecting the resource packet to cost about $100 with printing services. And then the final thing that we are working on is the Black Pre-Law Association Law Review. And we want to give this source and this resource for students to be able to write about diverse spaces and have their voices heard in legal discourse. This is the first time, again, that this organization has been established, so we have no materials whatsoever. And we are looking to, when we looked at the different prices, it was about $297, just printing services and also just coming up with the pamphlet together and being able to publish it out to different people. So with everything that I've said here, these are just a few of the events, and these are actually some of our first events. This organization is specifically made to provide resources to students, meaning that we're trying our best not to charge students. And that is a little bit difficult considering the fact that we are a freshly established organization. So I do want to thank you guys for your time. And yeah, if you have any questions.
All right, of course. Well, everything in the application seems to check out just fine. Now, since we will have to shave a little bit off, where do you want to see us prioritize our appropriations?
Yeah, let me look into it. Are you talking about which event specifically, or within?
In terms of the programming or supplies categories we have would be best.
Okay, I think maybe the best would probably be supplies, and I say that very weary because again, there is no funds that we just got established. So yeah.
All right, then in that case, okay, I'm going to move that we appropriate the category of supplies, $400.
Second.
And the category of programming, $1,025.
Second.
All right, so with that, the Black Pre-Law Association has been appropriated $1,425 from the Undergraduate Senate in this cycle. Your budget will be finalized next Tuesday when the Undergraduate Senate next meets in full to pass yours and all other organizations in this cycle's budget requests. After that, you will be able to apply for reimbursement and access those funds, but that's all that we have for you tonight. So thank you very much for coming.
Thank you guys so much for your time. I appreciate your work.
Hey, okay. Colleen.
Hi.
All right. I'm looking at your most recent result now, and it is a 64.
Ooh, I did worse. Okay, perfect. Thank you so much. Okay, thank you. Have a good night.
You too. Good evening with the Turkish Student Association.
Yes, that's correct.
Okay, have you passed the treasurer's test?
As far as I know, I have. I'm the president of the organization, so I believe I did that with the registration.
Um, I'm looking at the results spreadsheet and it doesn't look like your name is on there.
Okay, my name's EKIN. It's not on there.
Yeah, it's not.
Okay. Join the Zoom. My VP, because our treasurer couldn't make it today, I think my VP took the test.
What's
So
their
she's
name?
joining. Last name is, or first name, Celine, Celine.
Celine. I don't have that either.
That's so wait, but didn't I have to take the test to be president during the registration process? Because I definitely remember taking the treasurer exam.
Um, it's And let me get your VP in there. The test, I believe.
Oh, I'm just gonna catch Sid up. Sid, they're saying they don't have our test results for the treasure exam.
How many do
Except
they need?
I think they only need one of us, and I was so sure I took it because
The form is on Heal Life.
okay. I'm
Yeah.
sorry. I really thought that
We do
wait, not have it. Okay. Okay, so then okay,
this
we
here.
won't be able to.
Well, now something I've been doing for the other organizations who have not passed the treasurer's test. We will be holding hearings until 9:40. So if you can manage to pass the treasurer's test by that time, I will try to squeeze you in, but that will need to be done if you want Senate funding.
Funding. Okay, got it.
Do we
Thank you
do
so
we
much.
need to like shoot you an email when it's done, or can we just like join the Zoom link and then we wait?
You can stay on the Zoom, or whichever, as long as it's passed.
Okay.
Okay.
Thank you so much.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you. Then I'm going to I'm gonna leave and then
All right.
you
Yeah.
gonna
Thank you.
Well, thank you.
Good evening. You did get an 82, so you're good to go.
I'm sorry, my connection was cutting out right there. I didn't hear what you said.
You did get an 82, so you're good to go.
Beautiful. I think the first time it like didn't finish, it said like it was incomplete, and so I don't think that it like submitted all the way or something, but
Mm.
I got it taken care of.
But yeah, okay, so before we get started, we are working with a budget of $60,000, which means we'll have to fund organizations at a rate of about 90%. So keep that in mind, but I'll give you the next few minutes to introduce your organization and describe what you need funds for.
Okay, awesome. Is it okay if ACOM also joins this Zoom? I was just joining to ask, and I wasn't sure when the hearing time was starting. If not, then I can go ahead.
If let's see, you are in the interest of time, if you could just start.
Yeah, of course. So we are looking for funds for the Bandana Project, which is a mental health organization here on campus that is generated towards creating a campus community through there he is. Green bandanas to help destigmatize talking about mental health while also providing a beacon for hope to individuals struggling mentally by showing them that they have people around them who care. And we are one of the largest organizations on campus geared towards mental health. Akam, if you wanted to jump in here.
Yeah, sorry it took me a moment to join in, but I can talk briefly on what our funding would be used for. So I don't know if Kelly mentioned it, but basically the premise of our organization is green bandanas on backpacks on campus to create that community for students. And it's been tried and tested in over 50 different colleges across the US. And bandanas, as you're probably aware, aren't free, and we don't want to charge students on campus to like be part of a community and to not feel isolated or alone. And so these bandanas, in the past year when we bought them, it's been pretty much out of my pocket. And so the last order we did, for example, was 50 dozen, which equated to roughly $400. And that was 600 bandanas, and we handed those out in maybe less than a month. And then in addition to that, we have resource cards that are custom made for UNC with UNC resources, Chapel Hill resources, and national resources with other organizations, other just like CAPS resources, whatever it may be. And that we get printed. We've handed out over 1,500 of those, and that comes to approximately $200 per 500 or $200 per 500 cards. And so that's what the funding would be used for, because really our limiting factor right now is not having enough bandanas and resource cards to hand out. We have faculty members who are members. We have graduate students. Even the chancellor wears a green bandana on his backpack now. I've been able to have meetings with him. And so this is a great organization that we really want to be able to propel forward with more bandanas and resource cards.
Okay. All right. Well, everything checks out here. Let's see. Yeah. This does explain all of the green bandanas I've seen around campus.
That's great to hear.
Now, since we will need to cut a little bit off, where do you want us to prioritize our funds?
I'd say the priority would be bandanas.
Yes,
Okay,
we do pit sits and outreach at least I would say 3 times a month, if not more, especially during the beginning of the semester. So I definitely think bandanas is where the majority of our funds would be spent.
Especially because it's more expensive, because the more resource cards we print at a time, the cheaper the cost goes down. So that's a little bit more manageable. But bandanas definitely.
All right. So that capital expenditures category?
Yes.
All right, cool. Then in that case, I'm going to move that we fund the category of capital expenditures at $1,000. And the category of printing and publicity at $425.
Okay.
All right, so with that, the Bandana Project has been appropriated $1,425 from the Undergraduate Senate in this cycle. Your budget will be finalized on Tuesday, or next Tuesday, when the full Senate next meets to pass all of these budget requests, after which you'll be able to access these funds. But that's all that we have for you tonight. So thank you very much for coming.
Thank you so much. And I
Thanks so
really
much.
appreciate your flexibility with us.
Yes,
Thanks so
thank
much.
you.
Great. Have a good day.
You too. Right. Good evening.
Good evening. How are you?
Good. Before we get started, I do want to say that we're working with a budget of $60,000, which means we have to be funding organizations at a rate of about 90%. So keep that in mind as we go forward, but I'll give you the next few minutes to introduce your organization and what you need funds for.
Okay, absolutely. My name is Colby Kelly. I'm the treasurer of the Institute of Politics. Some of you may know the Institute of Politics. It was I'm only a sophomore, so I wasn't there in person to know it, but I was told a few years ago it was highly prominent. It was very famous. They had been bringing multiple speakers to campus and such. But essentially what it is it is a bipartisan / nonpartisan organization on campus that advocates for various political ideologies as well as different opinions and platforms. It mostly tries to take an objective stance, and by that I mean it is academically backed. One of the big ways that we do this is through our Carolina Political Review, not to be mixed up with the Carolina Review, which is a conservative newspaper here on campus, nor the Daily Tar Heels newspaper, but it's an online platform. You can Google it, and it's like a online editorial base where we have various writers who are part of the Institute of Politics submit different articles to a specific topic, and we have a various editing staff team that goes in and publishes that. To the point of funding for that, however, it does take a certain amount of money on a monthly basis to continue to fund that, as well as a Google Workspace, which kind of just manages all those documents, lets the editing team do what they need to do to be able to push out those articles. But since we are often confused with the Carolina Review, which is a newspaper, we actually want to push out a printed edition of our work to remain separate as well. As much as the Daily Tar Heel and Carolina Review may take their own certain positions and may highlight politics in a certain way, we wanted to bring to campus a bipartisan physical copy of different students' opinions on issues and backed by academic sources. In addition to that, we do wish to continue our speaker series. I know we had not, I believe at least last semester when I was brought on to the Institute of Politics, we had not brought any speakers to campus. However, we have a new director who has various speakers lined up. This could be for different costs in terms of traveling, as well as different mics and equipment and such. As well, we would like, for the purposes of writing in our political review, that we have cameras and equipment necessary to be able to interview them afterwards and such for that. But essentially, in terms of the big platforms that we have, it would just be the speaker series and the Carolina Political Review. We are opening up we have mind to open up a few more programs, but as of now, those remain unfunded and are in no need of funding. But thank you.
All right. Well, in terms of funds requested, these seem to check out. On the application, it does say that the group is unwilling to identify the student government as its sponsor. Is this accurate?
I do not believe so. No, that should be inaccurate. We're more than happy to identify, recognize the student government.
Cool, as long as we can have that confirmation. All right, and now as a politically based organization, in the Carolina Political Review, will at any point you be either endorsing candidates for specific office or lobbying government directly for certain policy?
No, we specifically target issues. We do not endorse candidates nor any political party.
All right, cool. Then in that case, it all checks out. We will, of course, need to just shave a little bit off. So where do you want us to prioritize our funds?
Specifically, I would ask I believe the equipment is on there, if that could be shaved off.
Okay. It's that part. Oh, okay. Now, subscriptions and periodicals, it does see that you have requested money for that. We don't fund that category, but I can add that into the printing and publicity category, so it can be used if that's good.
I appreciate that.
All right. Then in that case, I'm going to move that we fund the category of building venue rental at $300.
Sorry, second.
All right. The category of equipment rental at $159.
Second.
The category of printing and publicity at $966.
Second.
And the category of subscriptions and periodicals at $0.
Second.
All right, so with that, the Institute of Politics has been appropriated $1,425 from the Undergraduate Senate. Your budget will be finalized next Tuesday when the full Senate meets, and we can pass these appropriations. After that, you'll be able to access these funds. But that's all that we have for you tonight, though, so thank you very much for coming.
Absolutely. Thank you so much for having me.
Good evening with the studio arts majors, correct?
Yes.
All right. Just double check. Yes, passing. All right. Okay, so before we get started, I do just want to say we're working with a $60,000 budget, which means we'll be funding organizations at a rate of about 90%. So keep that in mind.
Okay.
But I'll give you the next few minutes to introduce your organization and what you need funds for.
Hi. Okay. So I'm Sarah. Let me turn my camera on. Apologies. I am the lead curator for the Studio Art Majors Association. We run the only student-run gallery space on campus in Haynes Art Center, and our club is open to all studio arts and art history students at UNC who are available, who help with things like installation and promotion of our shows. We run about 3 shows a semester with activities in between. And we're really focused on just giving a showcase for student art that wouldn't otherwise have a place to be shown. So our programming is, anyone is welcome to submit work, but our programming almost exclusively features work by art students and other students from UNC.
If you'd like to go into your
programs. Yeah, so our first event has already happened. We had an opening earlier this semester for our show Anti-Portraits, which that was the theme, was Anti-Portraits. And our second show is coming up. We're actually installing it this week. And we need funding for things for our show, such as like equipment to hang canvases, to hang photos, frames and such for those purposes. Because we're always kind of running on, remains of what was there for installing last semester. It's kind of, I don't know, it tends to be a bit of scattered whether we have the equipment we need to actually hang the works effectively. So that's something we need funding for. So that's our current show that's going up. We have a solo show at the end of the semester that we need the same kind of support for, where one artist submits a proposal for their show and they fill the space with their work and they lay it out how they want. We also need to do renovations to our space because it's a converted room. It's a converted closet in the Haynes Art Center, that we have some like standard white walls built up around the cinder blocks, but one of our walls is still uncovered. It's still just the cinder blocks, which makes it difficult to hang things. And two of our other walls are, we have a moving wall on wheels, and we want to redesign that to make it more flush. So we need funding to purchase materials to build out the space. And we also wanted to acquire some furniture for our gallery, such as benches, so we can become a more accessible space. People who need a place to sit can sit down and stuff like that.
All right. Well, that all seems to check out. Okay, since we will have to cut this down a little bit, where do you want us to prioritize your funds?
I would say prioritizing the funds, it's the capital expenditures is the one, right? The for like developments of the space, like the furniture and stuff like that. I think that's our biggest priority.
All right. Okay. Then in that case, I'm going to move that we fund the category of capital expenditures at $1,000. All right. The category of printing and publicity at $75.
Second.
And the category of programming at $250.
Second.
All right. So with that, the Studio Art Majors Association at UNC has been appropriated $1,325 from the Undergraduate Senate in this cycle. Your budget will be finalized next Tuesday when the full Senate next meets, so we can pass all of these budget bills. After which point you will be able to access those funds. But that's all that we have for you tonight, though. So thank you very much for coming.
Yeah, thank you so much. I really appreciate it.
Of course.
Okay, bye.
Okay. Colleen? You are at 54 this time.
Thank you.
I will recommend focusing on the objective criteria, our specific funding rates, and the prohibited items.
Perfect. Thank you so much.
Of course.
Hello, how are y'all?
You're with the women's team handball club? All right. So before we get started, I do just want to say we're working with a budget of $60,000. This means we'll be funding organizations at a rate of about 90%. So keep that in mind as we go forward. But I'll give you the next few minutes to introduce your organization and describe what you need funds for.
Yeah, so I'm with Chapel Hill's Women's Team Handball Club. We're a sports club here at UNC focused on building community and being a competitive sports club. We're asking for funding for equipment, first of all, just because some of our old handballs are either like deflate, like they won't inflate, just like they've done their time, I guess. And we also have a lot more members this year, so having more handballs would just help us like keep the intensity up and move through drills faster. And then we're also asking for funding for labor in order to staff our games at the home tournament that we're hosting this fall. Based on like the past estimates and like the amount of games that we've played at our last home tournament, I approximated about $1,000 to pay verified refs to staff our games.
All right. Well, those both check out. Since we will need to cut this down just a little bit, where do you want us to prioritize funding?
Probably prioritize for equipment if possible.
All right. Okay, then in that case, I'm going to move that we fund the category of equipment rental at $350.
Second.
And the category of labor fees at $900.
Second.
All right, so with that, UNC Chapel Hill Women's Team Handball Club has been appropriated $1,250. Your budget will be finalized next Tuesday when the full Senate meets to pass yours and all the other budget requests. But that's all that we have for you tonight, though. Thank you for coming.
All right, thank you guys so much.
Of course. Then Narissa, you've already received funds.
Haven't told me yet.
Odd. I can. Okay, well, it looks like you've already been appropriated $920. I'm not sure why you got sent in here, but
Okay.
should be good to go now.
Okay. Is there anything else that I need to do?
Okay, so your budget request will be finalized next Tuesday when the full Senate next meets to pass yours and all other organizations' budget bills. But after that point, you'll be able to receive funds. There's not really anything else on your end that you'll need to do besides request the funds from the union once they're passed.
Okay, but I will get like a notification that to let me know that it was passed or
Yeah, I'll send that information out after our next Senate meeting to all of you.
Okay. Thank you so much. Have a good night.
You too. Looks like the walk-ons are back and they are good to go. All right, Russell, with an 86, you are good to go. So,
ooh, awesome.
All right. Yeah. Yes, okay. So we are working with a budget of $60,000. This means we'll be funding organizations at a rate of about 90%. So keep that in mind. But with that, I'll give you the next couple minutes to introduce yourself and what your organization needs funds for.
Yeah, so it'll be pretty short. My name is Russell Harrington. I'm the treasurer for the UNC Walk-Ons. I've been with them since my freshman year. I'm a senior now. And I've been a treasurer a couple times. Really fun. Each semester we have concerts. Our concert this semester is on November 17th in Haynes Art Center. We have done partially of our own fundraising, but for these concerts, we are an a cappella group. So we need professional sound systems because regular sound sometimes gets not reliable, and we need someone who knows what they're doing to work that sound. In the past, we have used Liquid Fifth and Sonarch sound. This semester, we have decided to use Liquid Fifth because they're a little bit cheaper. Their rate usually is 16,000. No, $1,650. That is a lot of. That's a very different number. But they're yeah, we just would need funding partially for that because it is like the most expensive thing behind renting the Haynes Art Center. And like without it, it's things can go pretty not well. So yeah.
All right. Well, that checks out. No problems on the application, and you only applied to one category, so I think good to move that we appropriate in the category of labor fees, $1,425.
Second.
All right. So with that, walk-ons at UNC have been appropriated $1,425 from the undergraduate senate. Your budget will be finalized next Tuesday when the full Senate next meets, and we will pass yours and all other organizations' budget requests, after which point you'll be able to access those funds. But that's all that we have for you tonight, so thank you for coming.
Awesome. Thank you all so much.
Of course.
Have a good night.
You too. Good evening with the Kappa Phi Lambda Sorority Incorporated.
Yes.
All right, cool. Before we get started, I do just want to say we're working with a budget of $60,000, which means we'll be funding organizations at a rate of about 90%. So keep that in mind as we go forward, but I'll give you the next few minutes to introduce your organization and what you need funds for.
All right. Can I just start whenever?
Yeah.
All right. So Kappa Phi Lambda sorority, it was chartered at UNC back in November 23rd of 2013. We aim to pursue cultural awareness with the focus on advancing the interests and needs of women of color. And our main pillars are sisterhood, service, and cultural diversity. And we strive to promote cultural and social awareness in our community by holding public events and collaborations with other organizations, both on and off campus. And so, in terms of funding, one of the biggest events we have this year is our 10-year banquet, just honoring the 10 years of the organization being established at UNC and honoring those who founded it. It'll be open to UNC students as well as a lot of other schools that will be coming out, and will be centered around Asian American identity and like sharing the same experiences as minorities while recognizing the multicultural great community that we're a part of, and also acknowledging the philanthropies that we support, such as the Refugee Community Partnership and the Community Assistance Relief Everywhere charity. And then apart from that, we just hold a lot of cultural events and service events since they're our pillars. And we just kind of want to have a little bit of funding in terms of that to support those smaller events throughout the semester. But that's the main part of it. Are there any details that you would like me to hit on when it comes to the cultural or service events?
Um, don't believe so. It seems to all check out. All right. So yeah, okay, since that checks out, on your application it does say the group intends to purchase alcohol, tobacco, and/or firearms with the requested funds. Is this accurate?
That is not accurate.
Yeah. As long as we can get that assurance here, that's good. All right. Now, since we will need to cut some down on the budget, where do you want us to prioritize funds?
Mainly supplies.
Okay. All right. Then I'm going to move that we fund the category of labor fees at $70.
Second.
And the category of supplies at $1,350.
Second.
All right. So with that, Kappa Phi Lambda Sorority Incorporated has been appropriated $1,420 from the Undergraduate Senate. Your budget will be finalized next Tuesday when the full Senate meets next to pass your budget and all other organizations' budgets. After this passes, you'll be able to access those funds. But yeah, that is all that we have for you tonight. So thank you for coming.
All right. Thank you guys.
we're done with our hearings, but I did tell the organizations that they had until 9:40, so give them just a couple more. Just saw a 10.
Any new information about are you able to see in real time whether looks like Company Carolina or Turkish Student Association tests were passed?
Company Carolina's most recent was a 54. Turkish
That's
Student
rough.
Association's most recent was a 10.
That's not good.
Yeah.
I finished the test, but I don't know if I passed or not. I kind of
Ye-
had to rush through it.
You unfortunately did not.
Okay. So does that mean, so then do we have to schedule another date?
So tonight is the last night of hearings for this cycle, so
Okay.
unfortunately we cannot make further rescheduling for this cycle.
But for spring semester?
Yes, you can apply
Okay.
for funds in the spring.
Okay, got it. We'll just do that.
Yeah,
Thank you.
look out for information on that from either Student Life or student organizations in November, December. Keep
Are
an
we
eye.
are we able to know what percentage she got correct?
Oh my God, it's probably gonna be something really low.
It's okay. I'm just curious.
Oh, on Celine, your test attempt out of 100 was a 10.
No, silly. I tried my best. I tried to read through the thing quickly, the Title IX or whatever it was.
Oh, it's okay. It's okay. I'm studying for midterm, so I didn't have time to do it too. But thank you so much for your help, guys.
Of course.
You'll see us next semester.
Okay,
All right.
thank you. Bye.
Have a good one. Group or subcommittee 2 is with their last group, so once they're done with that, we're good. I think this is everyone. All right. So subsequent wise, looks like we are currently how much? Oh,
You guys are like 1,000 under. We're like 5,000 under, or 5,500 under. Both the way under budget.
wait. Little up. Yeah.
We'll probably need to reconcile.
Yes, the numbers on this or something with the spreadsheet's weird, so the numbers don't add up.
That's because you put retaking and coming later.
Yeah. Or
just put like 0. But otherwise, everything seems to be adding up. Why is it not for you?
Okay. There we go. Now the numbers look good.
Oh, okay.
Or
they look the same to me. I'm not sure.
All right. I'm talking on the like overall spreadsheet, but yeah.
Oh.
You are 5,500 under. Okay. Then in that case, yeah, we can bump these things up. Certainly not going to be all of them, but
yeah. Today, most are very close. Do you want to look at earlier cycles or only reconciling today's?
Well, from the previous subsequent night, we've pushed all of those to 100. So like there's nothing from other nights that we could appropriate.
Oh.
So let's see. Are we within the bounds of being able to push all of these orgs up to 100%?
Yes. The only thing would just be we are sought. They can't because that was like a publicity, like we're printing publicity for
certain. Okay. If you could
I'll
note
bump everything else up. Yeah, I got you. The other ones are all 0 because they didn't have a treasure. They originally had a value, but we couldn't appropriate to them.
Yeah. Those are all good.
I'll just remove the comments. But yeah.
Okay.
So you want me to start bumping them up now?
Yeah, you can.
Okay, great. Yeah, move to increase the building venue rental costs for light entertainment from 475 to 500. Do I hear a second?
Second.
Thank you. And for lightweight entertainment as well, I moved to increase their equipment rental costs from 950 to 1,000. Do I hear a second?
Second.
Thank you.
And you're putting that information in on the website?
Yeah, I'm doing both. Yep.
Awesome. Cool.
Yeah, we're definitely still going to be way under even after this, but
oh yeah. I'm going to move that we raise for the bandana project the category of printing and publicity from 425 to 500.
Second.
I moved to increase the capital expenditures for the Muay Thai club from 1,350 to 1,474. Do I hear a second?
Second.
Thank you.
For the walk-ons, I move that we increase in the category of labor fees from 1,425 to 1,500. Do I hear a second?
Second.
For Kesem at UNC, I move to increase the building venue rental from $950 to $1,000. Do I hear a second?
Second.
Thank you. I also move to increase the clothing for Kesem from $95 to $100. Do I hear a second?
Second.
Thank you. And for Kesem, I move to increase their supplies from $380 to $400. Do I hear a second?
Second.
Thank you.
For 0 degrees at UNC, I move to increase equipment rental from $1350 to $1,500.
Second.
For the Black student movement, I move to increase their clothing cost from $75 to $100. Do I hear a second?
Second.
Thank you. And for the Black student movement, I move to increase their supplies from $150 to $200. Do I hear a second?
Second.
Thank you.
Now, for the Undergraduate International Business Club, I move to increase the category of supplies from 150 to 250.
Second.
For the Union of Black Men, I move to increase their programming from 1,425 to 1,500. Do I hear a second?
Second.
Thank you.
For the clef hangers, I move to increase equipment rental from 1,400 to 1,500.
Second.
For the Carolina China Network, I move to increase their building venue rental from 1,450 to 1,500. Do I hear a second?
Second.
Thank you.
For the Undergraduate Consulting Club, I move to increase building venue rental from 1,425 to 1,500.
Second.
For the Development Society at Carolina, I move to increase their equipment rental from 45 to 50. Do I hear a second?
Second.
And for Development Society, I move to increase their labor fees from 180 to 200. Do I hear a second?
Second.
And for the printing and publicity, I move to increase from 180 to 200. Do I hear a second?
Second.
And finally, for the Development Society, I move to increase their supplies from 135 to 150. Do I hear a second?
Second.
Thank you.
All right. Now for the NCH Cap Health Careers Club, I move to increase programming from 1,225 to 1,300. Do I hear a second?
Second.
For the Albums and Record Society, I move to increase their building venue rental from $184 to $200. Do I hear a second?
Second.
For their Album Record Society dues and fees, I move to increase their dues and fees from $460 to $500. Do I hear a second?
Second.
I move to increase their equipment rental from 92 to 100. Do I hear a second?
Second.
And finally, I move to increase the Albums and Record Society's supplies from 184 to 200. Do I hear a second?
Second.
Thank you.
Now for the Black Pre-Law Association, I move to increase the category of programming from 1025 to 1100.
Second.
For the Business Cares Club, I move to increase their clothing from 1,400 to 1,500. Do I hear a second?
Second.
Thank you. That is all the eligible clubs for our subcommittee.
Okay, this. Oh.
We're still 4,800 under, but you know, it's the max we can do.
For the Institute of Politics, I move to increase equipment rental from 159 to 234.
Second.
Studio art majors. All right, I move to increase printing and publicity for the studio art majors from 75 to 100.
Second.
And the category of programming from 250 to 300.
Second.
For women's team handball, I move to increase labor fees from 900 to 1,000.
Second.
And for Kappa Phi Lambda sorority, labor fees from 70 to 100.
Second.
And supplies from 1350 to 1390.
Second.
And with the exception of the two orgs that requested money for food, that does it for me. All right. That puts us at a total appropriated amount this cycle at 53,922 and 51 cents. Our total budget being 60,137 and 35 cents. This leaves us with a surplus of 62.14 and 84 cents. Not much we can do with that, but I can recommend to the treasurer that that money be rolled over into the next cycle. Yeah, that about does it for budget reconciliation. Just to finish that off, I'm going to move that I'm going to move that we report the numbers on the Congress Finance website in the fall 2023 subsequent cycle favorably to the next full Senate meeting.
Second.
All right. Then with that, we are done with appropriations for the subsequent and food insecurity cycle. And that puts us done with hearings for the whole semester. Good job, everybody.
Great job. Well,
we're gonna have a couple months off and then we get to do it all over again in the spring. Though hopeful as trends hold, fewer organizations request money in the spring, so it shouldn't be as much work. But yeah, good job to all of us on that. Certainly been a lot of hours well spent. But yeah, I do have a couple more finance committee meetings scheduled over the next month, just since we are required to do that, unless we have specific legislation regarding to the finance process or nominees that we need to hear. It's not unlikely that those meetings get canceled, but we may meet again later this semester for that. But that about concludes all of our business for tonight. So unless there are any further comments, concerns, or announcements that anyone has, I'll move that we adjourn at 10:02 p.m.
Second.
Awesome. Great job, everybody.
Speak with you after, but yeah.
Mhm.